Good morning. It's Thursday, August 31st. And yesterday there was very good news out of the Ukrainian front. Ukraine has penetrated with its drones inside Russia. Not just the border, but inside Russia. The Russians admitted to these attacks, and the targets were in Pskov and Bryansk and Tatuga and Orlov and Ryazan and Moscow. In all of those regions, Ukrainian drones did a lot of damage. And the Russian Foreign Ministry said the attacks would not go unpunished and could not have reached so far into Russia without Western help. So now Russia is saying that Ukraine could not win this war without Western help. They are admitting, basically, that countries like the U.S. and Germany and France and Poland are against them. But is that going to stop them? Are they going to step back and say, what the hell are we doing here? Why don't we just pull ourselves together and collect more money for our oil wells and everything? Why are we fighting? That's because their leader is a little bit off-center. Why? If the Russians are willing to admit that Ukraine is getting a lot of help from the West, why are they continuing this fight? Why don't they just back out quietly? They've lost hundreds of thousands of men already. And yes, they've destroyed Ukraine. They have done terrible, terrible things to the Ukrainian country and its people. They could step back and say enough is enough, but that's not going to happen because Vladimir Putin is not about to quit. He doesn't realize how bad off he is in the opinion of the rest of the world. And maybe one way to end this thing would to get China to go talk to him, because he's not going to listen to anybody else. So in any event, this war seems to be turning in favor of the Ukraine. In Pskov, northern Russia, more than 600 kilometers, that's about 400 miles from Ukraine, a huge fire erupted at a military airfield. And that caused planes that were sitting on the runways to burst into flames. Now, Russia has done damage to the Ukraine. Russia has killed at least 2 people recently. And they're not stopping their attacks on the Ukraine. So it's not such a one-sided thing right now. But it looks to me like Ukraine is making inroads into the Russian position. Deep inroads. And let's hope that the Ukraine can keep this offensive up. Let's hope they keep getting the supplies from the U.S. and the G7 and all those other countries that should be on the side of Ukraine. So let's hope for the best. And it seems to be turning that way right now. But it's a very fragile situation. It's got a long way to go. And based upon Putin's history, I don't think he's prepared to give up at all. I think there's going to have to be some kind of inside revolution, sort of, that's going to sort of chase Putin out of the country or make him stop the killing in the Ukraine and the causing the deaths of many, many Russians. So I'll leave you with that, and we'll move on to something else. So I want to talk about Malania Trump, who, as you all know, Donald Trump's wife. And I went looking to see what she had accomplished when she was the First Lady. And it wasn't much at all. In fact, she was not a very happy First Lady. She lost her steam, so to speak, because she was undermined by a series of public spectacles created by her husband, as well as her self-inflicted public relations disaster. So she had hostility from the news media, and she reciprocated the same way. And like the president, she paid less attention to traditional niceties, and even told the public that she could not stand the White House decorations. So basically, she stayed for 4 years in a relative state of shock because she was surprised that he had won the election in the first place. But she believes he won the second election too. And meanwhile, her main concern in life has been their son Barron, and that continues to this very day. So when I thought about her, when I wanted to do this research on where she's been and what she's doing, she's not doing much right now. But she is espousing her husband's talk. She agrees with everything that Donald is saying. And that's what she thinks the world should be doing. Whatever Donald says is right is right. And his actions and all of his pronouncements, she agrees with apparently. But she says, I don't have time to deal with that kind of stuff because I have to make sure that Barron does well in school. After all, he's 17 years old now and a senior in high school. So they're probably preparing him for college somewhere. Now, I don't know anything about Barron. He's always been kept in the background. There have been reports that he has some kind of deficiencies, but I don't know and I don't really care. I have no animosity toward him at all. I have no animosity toward her either. But she's going to stand by her husband 120%, and she agrees with all of his false claims, and I wonder why. I don't expect any wife to stand up in defiance of their husband. That's not the right thing to do. But she could be quiet and not let anybody know that she agrees with him. But somehow or other, people have found out that she does agree with him. So that's the situation on Melania Trump, who was one of the quietest first women we ever had in this country, and who remains to be deep in the shadows of her husband. But still, it's known to many that she supports him 100%. And I guess that's why she has still remained his third wife. The other women were long gone. I don't know how they feel about him right now either. So in any event, that's where we stand this morning. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Have a great day.